All right, so our time is 2 o'clock, and we want to welcome you to this webinar where we're talking about equipping leaders to support the well-being of their people. What a time to be bringing this topic. And I think it's become one of those very, if not very important subjects today in the people leading space. So before we can go any further, there has got to be some wisdom we can draw from those who have walked the journey. And I think without any further waste of time, I want to introduce to you today someone who is here with us, a very esteemed leader. Shirley Zine is one of the most highly esteemed HR professionals in South Africa. And I think several times I've seen her face on the CHRO magazine and sharing her valuable insights on many topics that have to do with people. And she serves on the board of many leading organizations, also an author with one of the most inspiring stories of determination, courage, and triumph over incredible adversities. And the best thing I can tell you is that we have her as our patron at Free to Grow. So Shirley will answer the question for us today. Why this new focus on employee well-being? She's going to give us the bigger picture. Why now such a big need, such a big emphasis on this topic? Shirley, I want to welcome you and also hand over to you to take us through this very insightful conversation this afternoon. We can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nonsabiso, for a wonderful, warm welcome. I'm truly honored and delighted to be the patron for Free to Grow. And I've come a long way with Alinda. I'm so grateful to be here today to talk about this very urgent topic of what is happening in our workplaces with regards to the employee well-being challenges that we are facing, and why organizations need to care even more than they ever did before. It's a hugely important engagement today, and I'm very excited that we have so many people online to be part of this momentous reflection that we need to have here today. So, a lot of the work that we are focusing on is about boosting employee well-being, growth, and engagement. And we know that we have been through tumultuous times. We are currently in very difficult and challenging circumstances, geopolitically, macroeconomic wise, socioeconomic wise. We have many challenges. And the topic of well-being of people has been somehow in the minds of CEOs over the last few years. I think COVID has pushed it, further into the mainframe of what is being discussed also at boards these days, and it is becoming something incredibly strategic from a sustainability point of view for CEOs and top executives, as well as boards of directors, to be concerned about as a key risk. It's not anymore about ticking boxes and just thinking that we've got to do something. It's really about caring for people, because if we don't truly care, and I have to say, when we use the word care in a boardroom environment, sometimes people's eyes just gloss over because they say we are running a business. But if you don't care for your people, you will not be sustainable. And so it is incredible that we are doing this webinar today, because it is about reflecting on where we're at. It is about a growing urgency around a key topic. It is a sustainability discussion. It's about an open dialogue and building an invaluable foundation for healthy workplaces where everybody can be feel heard, seen, supported with greater productivity and ultimate sustainability and profitability. So we see that there is, as we said in the topic title, a plummeting employee well-being challenges that we are experiencing demonstrate more profoundly that they care. We also see from the research that we have done that people are suffering. People are struggling. There are very few people that are thriving, and there are statistics that have been done to
mm,
prove that people are under enormous pressure. And so, and if we look at the condition of human beings in the workplace, and we take a human-centric approach to our workplace, we are required to respond to this and really step up our game to provide holistic and meaningful solutions. So, what are the strategies that organizations are implementing currently to show that they truly care for employees? A lot of us, organizations and at boards and executive level, we talk about, our people are our greatest assets, that we put people first. But how do we transition that from talk to actual implementation? And how do we make sure that we are basing that on sound and solid research that is, happening out there to give us guidance? We see from the Workplace Health Report published in 2023 that financial pressure is one of the biggest things that's affecting people in 2023. Let me see what the number is here. 37% of people are saying financial pressure is giving them extreme stress. The next thing after that is 32%, which is around the quality of their relationships. And perhaps just one other insight is that parenting is 29% of what gives people stress. And so, how do we, there are other reasons as well, but they are smaller in number. I thought I'll just shout out those numbers and the flags around what is happening to our people right now on the ground, and how are we responding to the stress around financial pressure, around relationships, and around parenting. And why should every employee do something about it? Now, there's always the business case, and there's always the story around, well, if your people are not well, then how can your organization be well? And if you extend that even further, the impact of well being extends far beyond what people feel, because it comes down to, what people say, you know, we can't do anything about what people are feeling. But the thing is, we can, and we absolutely should do something about the way people are feeling. We need compassionate, empathetic leaders that lead
mm,
with authenticity on the topic of employee well being and care about how people feel. If you want to just look at the numbers, we can say yes, the sick days are very high. It costs when people aren't showing up in a healthy way, or if they can't
mm,
make it to work. It affects their performance, it affects the overall organization's performance. There's the odds of burnout and the likelihood of attrition and retention issues in an organization. And we know how much it costs to fill vacancies, how much time it takes to do so, and um, and how much risk there is involved if vacancies are left unfilled. And there's a lot of talk about burnout. I don't know that people properly understand what burnout means. They think people are just tired and need a few days off and they will somehow
mm,
recover. It is much, much deeper than that. And we need to do deeper work on what burnout means and what organizational responses to that must be. And so, if leaders want to attract and retain star talent in their organization, we should start prioritizing well-being and take steps to create a thriving culture, not a struggling culture, not a suffering culture, but a thriving culture. And that for me is very, very important. And so I think if we look at sick days, productivity, performance, retention, attrition, and the cost of not feeling like you belong or cared for, every single person needs to feel that they are valued and cared for in the organization. And there is a huge cost, and there's lots of research showing what happens when we don't pay attention to this. And so there is also work being done around um, some of the older traditional um, approaches that organization has taken to well-being, and we believe that there might have been a time and a place for some of those sorts of tools, for some of those platforms, and for the traditional type employee assistance programs. I think the time has come for far more holistic approach to our employee wellness work that we need to do. And our managers, they play a pivotal role in ensuring that they're investing in their people with the right benefits. And the research again is showing that organizations and and companies are prepared now more than ever to focus their investments on mental health, on stress management and resilience, on mindfulness and meditation and financial wellness. And telemedicine is also in there. And so that shifts the current playing field to something quite fundamentally different from what we have seen in the past. And so it goes far beyond just tick boxes to how do I genuinely care for my people here. And I see that Deloitte has also done a survey on well-being at work, asking fundamental questions: are managers sufficiently in touch with the realities of what is happening to their people on the ground? And we need to go much further than we have. There was also an article in the Fortune magazine not too long ago that signaled that the impact that managers have on the mental health of their people um, is far more impactful than perhaps even therapists might be, and even more impactful, as many of us come home to our spouses and our partners with our troubles. But in the meantime, we have that manager at work every day that we've got to deal with, that where nothing shifts and nothing moves. So it is important to do a piece of work with that level of the organization so that we can start to embed a culture where the dimensions of employee well-being around mental and emotional energy, around a sense of purpose and deep fulfillment and meaning and progress at work. And we have meaningful connections and relationships with people at work. The quality of our relationships impact the quality of our lives. We know what it's
Mm.
like when relationships are not working out well, whether they be personal or professional. Social capital is very, very important to harness meaningful connections and communication that connect with the heart and soul of people. And Richard Barrett wrote about liberating the corporate soul. You can really only liberate the corporate soul if you have the kind of leadership that creates an enabling and empowering environment, supportive environment that is personal, that is meaningful, that is authentic and real. And then, of course, there's the challenge around the financial well-being of people and the support that they would need in this space here. So it's great that we are doing this work. It's powerful work that we need to invest in, and we need to understand what fuels people, what um, gets people to thrive. We need to understand that in a lot more detail, and we need to make sure that our cups are overflowing. We shouldn't be talking about half full and half empty. We should be talking about we are thriving, we are joyful, we can have breakthrough, we have reasonable work life, we're taking enough breaks, we do have healthy behaviors, we take part in team and well-being activities at work. So just to distill it down and to get to some closure here, I think we need to um, continue to build creative and robust holistic employee experiences at work. We are all
Mm,
looking for a great experience when we go to work. And when we give our employees a great experience, we give our customers a great experience, we give our communities a great experience, we give our regulators and our broader stakeholders a great experience. Every interaction they have with us is a memorable interaction because it's positive, it's optimistic, it's forward looking, and most of all, it is sustainable. And I think we must demonstrate commitment to prioritizing this for our organization's future. So,
mm,
in summary, we have to empower managers to support workforce well-being. We also have to hold executives and the organization accountable. If they don't do this well, there are all sorts of risks and consequences down the line. And we need to embrace the broader movement towards human sustainability and care more for our fellow human beings, and ensure that we are we are pushing our organizations into a new era on wellness and the well-being of our people. And it's wonderful that we can join this afternoon together to reflect on what this might mean in our own organizations. What Free to Grow is truly all about at its very essence, and how very important and special this is to make a contribution to humanity and make a difference in the lives of others. I will stop there now, Nontapiso, and hand back to you. Thank you so much.
wow, thank you so much for sharing with us these valuable insights. And I just want to get back to our screen there so that we can just share further. And while we do that, I just want to quickly read up a comment that I see on the chat that I believe might be answered by the next presentation. And it's from Smobile Kuluse, who says, being an employer based in KZN, we face a myriad of challenges from COVID to looting, to floods, short time, business closures and retrenchment all around. How do we help our teams weather these storms? What sort of programs can we prioritize in our workplaces, especially desk-less employees who are often left out? Very critical question, which I hope, Smobile, that question might be answered for you in our next presentation that we are going to be receiving shortly from Malebo, who will just give us some valuable insights on what they have done as an organization and how that impacted the lives of people during very difficult times. So without much ado, I just want to welcome Malebo and introduce her to all of you today. She has taken her time to come and be with us today. And Malebo is well known to Free to Grow. We've known her for at least 20 years. And that's when she was a young training officer at the Gold Reef City, and who was, by the way, at that time, trained to present our programs with their employees, because that's part of also being able to upskill in-house trainers. And so, in this role, we got to know her as someone with immense passion to make a difference in the lives of others. As a group training and development manager of Piedmont Group, she gets the opportunity to do this now every day. So without much ado, I want to introduce you to her and where she's going to be talking to us about riding the waves of the pandemic on the Staying Strong toolkit and how Piedmont used a free to grow develop program called Staying Strong, especially the toolkit, to equip managers with the skill sets necessary to move from just managing, but to caring about the well-being of their team members. And so I'm going to allow Malebo at this time to share screen with us and then take us through her presentation this afternoon. Over to you, Malebo.
Is everything fine? Can you see my screen? Excellent. Thank you so much, Notabiso, for the introduction. Yes, I've known Alinda while she was also still very young, while we could still run around without broken hips and broken legs. Yeah, so making sure that people are well in the workplace has been a vision of mine ever since I started working. I moved various training departments, and wherever I work, I think I've made an impact in the lives of people that I work with. And what I'll be presenting or taking you through today, building on what Shirley has presented, is how we responded to when COVID happened. And you might recall, or you might know, that we work in the gaming industry, and it was the hardest hit hospitality sector, where our doors at Piedmont were, for the first time in the history of Piedmont, we had to lock doors. Our CEO jokes that we had to go look for where the keys are and where the locks are, because we are a 24/7 business where every day someone is at work, and all of a sudden the doors are closed. People are not coming to work. And this did not only affect employees on the floor, it affected everyone, managers, executives, everyone was at home. And this had a huge impact on the on everyone. Once the lockdown started coming down, once open, come to work, we needed to make sure, how are people going to acclimatize? And we know, we've seen when we were at home, when we were sitting at home, how frustrating it was. For the first time, some of us did not have income, and some of our employees did not have income because there was no money coming in, so there was no money to pay. And then you have to ask these people to come to work. You have to ask these people to come to work, be energized. You can see that our tagline is relaxing stays, exciting times. How am I going to go out there, excited, relaxed, and create an exceptional memory when I'm worried about how things are at home, when I'm worried about I don't have the skills, I don't have the competencies within me, I'm overwhelmed? And those were the messages that we were getting. And to make matters worse, for most of our Piedmont units, when we came back, we went through a restructuring program, because when remember, business was cut 50%. We could not open all our restaurants. We could not open all the tables. We could not open all the hotels. So we could not carry all the employees. So there was survivor guilt. There was, oh my goodness, will I be able to still work without my other team members? Those were some of the things that were going on. So we engaged Free to Grow to say, okay, how can you help us to help bring back our employees, to make sure that when business comes back full force, we are able to run and create some level of normalness. Yeah, English is not my first language. To create some form of normalness into our workplace. We started a campaign once we agreed that Staying Strong was our program of choice. We started a campaign before the training started, and we called this campaign Stay Strong. It created the winning team. We worked with a wonderful marketing team here at Empress Palace, who took it upon themselves to start pushing out the messages throughout. So we started sending out, all our communication was centered around how are we going to stay strong? What are the things that, so that people are aware that, you know, some people have this thing of, they don't want to confront and deal with the hide. So we bring it, and talking about it, that we are a winning team. Yes, we face difficulties. Things have changed. Times are evolving. We need to keep up. In this new normal, you need to ask for help. And we had counseling, we had therapy before, but it was now even, as Shelly said, it was now even more important because my personal situation has changed. Some of us, we used all the savings. Now we're living paycheck to paycheck, and that paycheck in some instances was cut by 50%. Now, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with the future that is facing me as not only as a worker, but as a leader, as a manager? So we ran a campaign around bringing to awareness that we'll be running a program called Staying Strong, with a theme of the Piedmont Way. We created a tagline at that point, #winning team. We are a winning team. We are going to be this. We rallied around. There was strong communication throughout the complex. There were SMSs. We even created the HR executive and myself. We created video messages that we broadcasted throughout. Come back, welcome back. We're going to beat this. We are not beating. We're not down. Yes, things are tough right now, but we're going to make sure that we beat this. So we communicated constantly. And then in the planning process, to launch the Staying Strong, we wanted to launch strongly with the leadership team. So we had a leadership conference. And in this leadership conference, we themed it leading from the front, because as Shelly said, we understand that you as a leader, you cannot pour from this cup that is empty. So we wanted to start with our leaders. We wanted to make sure that the people that are going to be helping other people to heal are themselves being taken care of. Because if the leaders are not taken care of, it is and we've seen how leaders create a toxic environment, how leaders, when they don't feel that they are cared for, when they start engaging with their employees, they say, this place is like this, you know them. So we wanted our leaders to change their conversations when they are with their employees to say, yes, we understand, yes, we see things that are tough, but we have a lot of work to do. Let us keep on keeping on so that we can overcome this hurdle. And then Free to Grow helped us with the launch, where Alinda came at the conference and created an introduction, explained to our leaders what Free to Grow was all about, what Staying Strong was all about, and what we also did in that workshop, which was also important because we've been home for a long time. We reminded people about who we are, around strategy, around purpose, and also around making sure that we are aligning ourselves as leaders to go and lead into the new world. And then in the rollout process, I'll explain later on, Free to Grow helped train our leaders, and more importantly, roll out the Help to Learn sessions. And then in the I'm not sure if in some of your industries, in our industry, our leaders are very focused on their job. And sometimes it's very difficult to get them to understand that you get your job done through other people. And they like to focus on customers a lot. So our work is trying to get them to understand that for customer satisfaction, you need to have employee satisfaction, and getting them to do some of the work of engaging and teaching around doing your job right. They're very resistant. So we had to be very careful in how we phrased the Help to Learn sessions, and not call them training sessions, but saying we're giving you a toolkit to help you, to enable you to talk to your employees around what is happening to them right now, to open yourself up. Otherwise, if you said, no, you're going to be training your people, you'll say, there's the training department that does the training, I have a job to do. So the way that we said is that this is a toolkit that we are giving you as a leader, as a manager, that is going to help you to engage with your employees so that you can get the best out of them. And then what we did in addition, because we 8 units all over the country, at the point we had over 1,700 employees that we needed to get through. And there was, after the restructuring process, there was only 3 of us left in the department, so we couldn't be everywhere. So together with Alinda and some service providers, we designed a tool that we called Pulse. And this tool assisted us in tracking the training as it happened, and in tracking especially the conversations. Are the conversations happening? Are all managers getting an opportunity to practice? Because you can't, if you don't get an opportunity to practice the toolkit, you don't learn a new habit. You still, yes, I attend the training, but I revert back to my old behavior. So we wanted to make sure that all managers that have gone through the Help to Learn process get an opportunity. So this process helped us to track and check. It also helped us to get a sense, are people getting value from this session? And you can see this was our overall dashboard just before the close off. Almost 95% of people that attended the program loved it. They got value from it. So how we rolled it out, it was a very intricate process. As I said, our launch was at the leadership conference and then followed by exco training, and it was 3 sessions of 2 hours each, followed. And after each session, there was the Help to Learn session. And in the Help to Learn session, on top of the toolkit, we trained the managers how to use the Pulse tool. And the way that the Pulse tool was designed, we created the passwords for each manager, and each manager ran it. So after their training session, they got a link, they sent the link to the employees, and they completed the happy sheet in the session. So we could track this session was run by this manager, this is his password, and this is how people responded to him. So we could get a sense as well how each manager was doing and how each department was doing, how each unit was doing. And that also enabled us to go in and assist where there were problems, to give Alinda and the team were very generous, because some managers came and said, you know what, I'm still struggling. Can we have, we had extra sessions to assist with the Help to Learn toolkit. So we went from Exco, all our GMs, all our HODs, middle management, and training, and our supervisors. We trained the senior supervisors, and all of them got a Help to Learn session. And then the second rollout was where the managers were going to have their conversation using the Help to Learn toolkit, and we made sure that a minimum of 5 employees, we didn't want to make it big, a minimum of 5 employees per manager, with videos that are accompanying, and it made it easy, because managers that were not even, they said, no, I can't stand in front of people, I can't. The toolkit is very easy to use. There's a video, there's a guide, and you just facilitate. And I think Alinda will, I don't want to take your shine, Alinda. Alinda will talk more about the toolkit. But the toolkit was easy to use. Even people that said, I'm not a speaker, I can't stand in front of people, and say, no, you're not training, you're having a conversation. Make sure that, so multiple sessions we had to cover. And what we made sure is, well, we didn't cover employees that were under the PM. Remember, in our industry, we use a lot of outsourced labor. We also covered all our outsourced labor in our trainings, because they were also affected, and they are a huge part of our business. We can't leave them behind. When an employee, when a customer walks into our business and they are saved, they don't say, I'm saved by an outsourced person. They say, I'm saved by a person that works in that institution. So we covered all of them. So we had a huge rollout plan, made sure that we trained over 322 managers were trained, and over 1,600, and I say over because some of the sessions were not recorded. We trained over 1,610 employees, and with a very, 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 very good response. And there's departments that even after the official rollout ended, they still continue to use the tool. They still say, this is the best thing that I have ever had in my life to help me create a connection with my employees, with my team members. Continued monitoring, we didn't stop there, because and what this program did, it brought to the surface many other challenges that people experienced. We continued with the messages. We ran challenges on staying strong. We had a challenge where every Wednesday for 30 minutes, we'd have a mindfulness session. Those who can log in would log in. We got a professional to come and do mindfulness training. We do breathing exercises, relaxation exercises, focus exercises. For those that needed, we had financial services that come in. One of our partners as well came and said, because it came out that I can't cope. How do I reach out to my creditors? We went to the level of giving them templates and letters that this is how you write to your creditor to ask for an extension. This is how to rebudget. This is how to the extent that people that struggled in talking about their finances were openly saying, I'm struggling, I need help. Who do I talk to? And these sessions assisted us to get people out. And we continued with the messages. And let me share with you some feedback that comes directly from the people, the ones. I needed a session like this, looking forward to the rest of the training, because they're getting, and it's people that don't get an opportunity to talk. The way the toolkit is structured, everyone speaks, everyone engages. People go to understand the meaning of brave, what it means. There's feedback from people, especially the one that I've highlighted here is a leader that says, we always look after other people. We forget to look after ourselves. And I understand the importance of looking after myself so that I can look after the people that, and this individual here that I've hidden went through a very traumatic loss, lost parents, lost a child, and now they're required to come back to work. This process helped them to understand that I also need support. I also need assistance. And some units made it fun for themselves. You can see this unit was in Botswana. They decided to break themselves into teams, and they called themselves, each team gave themselves names. These ones called themselves, there were 7 in the team. They called themselves 7 Fearless Vipers. And they said, we head on, we're dealing with everything that comes our way. And that's how it's easy to use to make sure that people engaged, people participated, people had fun. Even though it was difficult times, you can see we had some of the sessions over Teams. Some of the sessions, remember, there was still, who remembers social distancing, putting on a mask. These are the conditions under which the training happened. Putting on a mask, the facilitator standing there, but we're having conversations, and that's important. Lots and lots and lots and lots of conversations that were had. The comments that I have, what we did with Pulse as well, we were collecting all the comments as well, because we wanted to gain insights into what people are bringing up, what's working and what's not working. The amount of insights and comments and interaction that we received, even people that maybe were not that openly engaged in the sessions, were able to go and write their thoughts on our Pulse, because it was anonymous. We were not checking who was completing it. We just wanted to say your thoughts. What do you feel? We had open space, and we had those ratings that were there. As I mentioned before, we had lasting impact. We created a legacy. We've changed managers from just being managers, but they care about people. We've brought in an element of empathy. And you must understand that our environment is hardcore. We deal with some elements that are very tough and difficult. And the work, some of the working conditions. I mean, if you've ever worked in a kitchen, you cooking up until your shift ends. So for our managers to make time to put that 20 minutes aside to have a conversation with my people, and for the people to come back and say, you know what, I feel valued, I feel heard, I feel that I met her. And the people that are staying now, some of them will tell you, I've had other offers elsewhere, but because of the way that I was treated here, I don't want to go. I still feel that I can contribute in this company, which is making us, giving us problems, because now we need to create a more engaging environment for them, because they want to stay. Some of the managers are saying things like, I now understand why relationships are important in the workplace. The people that I work with, it is important for me to know what they bring when they come to the workplace. And you will not have that if the relationship that you have with people is that of supervisor and employee. We started hearing things like the people that I work with, not staff members and employees. Things that were in the past, for example, when you are late, in the past, you are late once, warning, 2 times you go to. But right now, your manager will stop and ask and try to understand why. Why were you late? And this was brought to the fore from the conversations that they've had during the discussions. So the support system as well, from these, from the rollout of this Staying Strong program, and I call it Staying Strong. I struggle with Stay Strong because for me, staying, it's that thing that you don't just stay, you staying every day, you staying strong. Staying strong is part of our language. If you are in a meeting and something goes wrong, or there's a scuffle, you'll say to people, stay strong, breathe. So it has given people a language of how to approach and deal with difficulties. And it has also given people the mindset that we can overcome. We are not stuck. We have the capabilities to move. And that self-esteem, that self-belief, it has helped us. And as a result, we've launched a Piedmont-wide program called 360 Wellness. It started in 2021, the year of wellness. And now we have a full wellness program that we call the 360. We have a professional counseling and therapy available. We've contracted them, and it's not the same old way like e-cares, and it's a proper, it's not a wellness, it's proper counseling. So people that say, I'm not coping, I need to speak to a professional therapist, they can do that anonymously. We give them enough sessions for them to deal with their challenges so that they can come back stronger. We now have relationships full-time with people that help us with financial counseling. In most of our units, we've established, we had clinics, but our clinics are now becoming proper wellness centers. We're busy rolling out wellness days, and our wellness days are not a traditional wellness days where there's people coming and then you test for blood sugar. We do sessions. We have professionals coming. We don't do motivations. We do counseling. We do therapy. We do individual assessments. We make sure that we understand people for who they are in the units, so that we can get the best out of them. Because as I know it's cliche, but if the people are not well, the business is not well. We want to make the money. In the first year that we ran, 2021, in that tough economic conditions, most units were able to meet their revenue targets, and some of them exceeded them because the people that were working understood and felt that they mattered and felt that they are cared for. And thank you. I can talk every day, forever. Nonta, over to you. I can ask 3 questions.
Thank you so much, Malebo. You know, as I'm listening to you, you are definitely a force of energy and just talking from the heart with so much passion. You know, couple of things I take from your presentation. It definitely, you've put a very clear line there that employee well-being or wellness is definitely not a hit and run exercise. It's not something that we can just once off and we're done, but it's a journey. And it sounds like your organization really embarked on a journey of breaking barriers. If I hear you talk about we go to the extent of providing proper counseling, because it's not just about getting the person going the next day quickly. It's about fixing things that are not correct inside the hearts and minds of people, because you need that heart, you need that mind fully engaged in everyday activities. So thank you so much for such a heartfelt presentation. I'm sure everyone who is here agrees with me that this was not just some small thing, but this has had a lasting impact, I believe, in the lives of many of the employees. So without much ado, we want to open up the opportunity for some questions, for some comments, some feedback that, you know, as you are sitting and listening from Shirley's first presentation and to Malebo's presentation, what are the questions that you have, or what are some of the things that you want to get clarity on based on what they have shared so far? So feel free to use the chat as well, and also use the emoticons, the one for raising the hand, so that we can acknowledge you and give you the space to just share your insights. I'm sure there'll be sufficient wisdom here to help you in whatever that you want to know about today. So who is eager to go first and ask a question?
I don't have a question. I just want to compliment everyone because I think the session is extremely important. And like I said in the beginning, I am so open to learn. And everything that Malebo has mentioned is things that are so relevant to our times, because we find that once we get to work, it's bums on seats, and when you look again, it's 5 o'clock, it's time to go home. So having 5 at 5, maybe a mindful session is so important, because sometimes when you have a bad day at work, or a busy day at work, you tend to go home with that. And you know, there's a saying, leave your work at the front door, or leave your personal life at the front door of the office. That's impossible. I don't know about you, but if I have a bad day, I go home and I still have a bad day. So having that 5 at 5 mindfulness session is so important, just to unwind, retake my day and focus that, because the healthy work-life balance is so important. I want to give my best to my family as I do to my job. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Anouk. Thank you for that comment. That's really coming from that place of someone who has taken in a lot today. You did tell us that you are coming in here hungry to know, hungry to learn, and I hope this session has done just that for you, to fill you up a bit more and just give you more insights on this valuable topic. And I also see there are some questions on the chat and also some comments. Let's maybe quickly get to this one, where somebody is asking here regarding this question. Did any of the employees, this is to you, Malebo, did any of the employees ask for additional training or inputs? And if so, what were the trends since they experienced #staying strong?
Yes, we have other programs that we run, and where we have been struggling to get people to come and attend those programs, and programs around my personal mastery, and programs around what we call the Piedmont Way. But once we did this program, people now understood the importance of being present, and being present in the environment and understanding my environment. So there was a huge uptick and interest in those programs. There was a huge uptick and interest in our manager development programs. I mean, we run them as learnership, so the space is limited in 2022. And remember also as well, budgets were limited as well. And we had a lot of people that we had to put on waiting lists. We opened up the desire to learn and improve and be better. And that's what we did with our program, with the Staying Strong program.
Wow, sounds like there was a huge unlocking of hearts there. If that the hearts of people were stirred towards learning, what a great thing for the organization to have people eager to become better and better. Thank you, Malebo, for that. I hope that answers that question. There's also a comment here, and equipping and enabling leaders is the key and the only way to have sustainable impact. I love how the ownership was shifted from HR to the direct line managers. And this is from Miranda, just complimenting your organization there, Malebo, on sterling work that you all have carried through. And also I saw another question here around insights for the mining industry. And I believe, Samke, you will get all the valuable insights that you are looking for, especially with mining, because there's lots in different industries to look at, but I believe there will be answers for you regarding your question as well. let's see, we have more people still joining us, which is wonderful. We still have a few minutes for more questions. So if you want to unmute as well and just to raise your hand and ask a question, feel free. But we're also reading and entertaining what is on the chat at this point in time. Nishen said, I would like to understand how to navigate the challenges of limited budget when attempting rolling out a holistic wellness program. What are some ideas or techniques to get EXCO buy-in? Nishen, let me say, this question I think will be answered best by Alinda's presentation that is coming up shortly in a few minutes. And I think you will be able to pick for yourself there when she delivers her presentation next on those very specifics that you are asking for. So let's hold on to that answer. And I think very soon you will probably have much more bigger insight when Alinda begins her presentation. Alinda, I believe you are ready with your presentation, and Alinda's going to take us through the Staying Strong Toolkit. And I don't want to say many words. I can just introduce Alinda and say one thing about her is that her passion for people and their well-being is infectious. So I will not blame you at the end of this presentation if you fall in love with what she's saying and also say, how do I tag along and you take me with you on this journey of improving people and making sure they become their best every day for their organizations. Over to you, Alinda. Please take us through.
Thank you, Nonta. That's definitely one of the nicest introductions I've had in a long time. So now that you've heard what Malebo has done and her team at Piermont, I will share with you more what this toolkit that she referred to, what that really is about. Because life is a journey, and this journey takes us to beautiful places. But the same journey also takes us to tough places. Places of pain, of grief, of loss, of despair, of failure and anxiety. That's life. Nobody can escape that. And especially over the last few years, as Shirley has told us, many people, and the number keeps increasing, are finding themselves at a space where they feel, I am just hanging on. It becomes tougher and tougher. Every time you go to the shop, things are more expensive. You struggle with load shedding, etc., etc., etc. And people are really struggling. Our response to that was to create the program and the toolkit Staying Strong. When 3 months down COVID, we lost all our work in Free to Grow. We didn't have a single day scheduled in training. We lost one of our oldest facilitators who's been with us for 26 years. He passed away, and our life has changed forever. And I thought, Alinda, if you, with all your knowledge about psychology and with all these Free to Grow skills, if it can affect you so much that you feel you are hardly hanging on, would this not be true about everybody else? And I created Staying Strong as much for me to help me hang on and stay strong and help Free to Grow hang on and stay strong as I created it for other people. And the objective of the toolkit that Malebo shared with us is to change the way that care looks like in organizations. Because all of us, in spite of these challenges, have the desire to still make it in life, to still reach heights, to still be successful, to still be happy, to still be fulfilled. And that's what Staying Strong is about. And the toolkit changes the focus of well-being from counseling for that 7 to 9%. Deloitte tells us only 7 to 9% people use a formal EAP. So moving from rescuing those 79%. 2, equipping everybody with the skills to live more fully, to stay strong during tough times. And that was our objective with the Staying Strong Toolkit. We first developed a program, a 1-day Staying Strong program, which is also what Peermont's leaders all attended before they then continued with presenting the toolkit themselves. And then we took that program and we presented it in the form of a toolkit. Why? This is the Golden Bridge in Vietnam. And this is what staff members need from their leaders: to hold them, to support them, to care for them. More than they need it from HR or EAP, because the leaders are there with them every day. And I have yet to know a leader who tells me, I don't care about my staff, I don't worry about them. Leaders care. They just do not know how to show it. They don't have the skills or those tools to show and demonstrate their care. And that is what the toolkit was about. We've taken the Staying Strong program and packaged it in a way that any leader at any level of the organization can use as a tool to hold their people and help them stay strong. And the program basically, in terms of content, follows the same content as a Staying Strong program. We talk about our goal. Our goal is to not break down, but to break through. And the program has got, and the toolkit has got 3 parts. The first one is, for this journey, we need to be brave. We need to be brave. It's not easy. And we made it simple enough that on any level of the organization, people can understand it, and use it and remember it. Brave stands for, how is my body showing up? What are the signs in my body that I can realize that I am actually close to breakdown? It's different for all of us. For some people, it's headaches, the elephant sitting on your chest, the elephant sitting on your shoulders, not being able to sleep, eating or drinking too little or too much, etc., etc. So we make people very aware of what is happening in my body. So I can use that as a thermometer to help me become aware of what is happening on the inside. The next one is relationships. Sometimes before we know that we are close to breakdown, our partner, or our children, or our husband may say, Alinda, you are much more irritable than usual. You get angry so quickly. You are impatient. People see those things in us before we even know that we are struggling with stress. Our attitude, helping people become aware of how do we talk, even if it's only on the inside. What do I say about the day, about myself, about life? And realizing that where I used to be able to keep everything in the air and be positive, my attitude is slipping. And that is showing me that something can break down and I must be alert. Value-added work. When things go well, I can meet my targets. I can be adding all the value. But when I can't sleep at night and when I'm worried and when I'm tired and when I'm down, I start to fall short. And lastly, my energy. Children have boundless energy. But when we get tired and we get depressed and we get burnt out, our energy goes. And that drive that should drive us forward, that energy that drives us through our days, we don't know where it is, but we say, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like, and those things that used to bring us joy, those things that used to fill us up, we no longer have the energy and the time and the list to do them. So we help people with a very, very simple test to test themselves. What is my brave level at this stage? They take the brave test home. They do it with their families. The other day I had somebody said, I did that in a simple way with my son of 7. And for the first time, he shared with me that he was bullied at school. I never knew about it because we don't make time for these conversations. Teams start meetings by saying, let's just quickly do a round. What are our brave levels today? Give people a language to be able to say, what is happening inside of me. And that's the first part of the program, a very important part. Then we look at Oros. We chose Oros because I don't know of anybody who was not brought up on Oros. And many of us still have Oros in our kitchens. So it's a reminder, every time we drink Oros and we pour for our children, it's a reminder that I need to keep filling myself up with a spiritual and mental, emotional Oros. Very simple. What do we need to stay strong? O, optimism. I don't believe optimism is seeing the glass half full, because the glass is also half empty. We help people understand that optimism is believing and looking for the power of yet. Yes, this is lost. Yet, this is left. Yes, this is not possible for me any longer. Yet, this is. Yes, this I cannot change. Yet, this I can. And very intentionally shifting people's focus of their interpretation of their reality so they can remain positive and hopeful. The R is resilience. We can take a ball, we can take exactly the same size stone, throw them on the ground. The stone will lie there or break. The ball will bounce back. There are some people who keep on bouncing back and bouncing back, no matter how many times they've been knocked down. Other people stay down. What can we do to keep ourselves bouncing back, even when things are tough? We help people with ways, simple tools, the 3 Ps that they can use to remind them that this too shall pass and there is life left in spite of. Ownership. There's so much that we cannot control in our lives. And if I want to focus on the country and my manager and the organization and on ESCOM and all these people, I feel helpless. But if I can move my focus on what can I control and what can I influence, and I can say from the moment I get up in the morning, I take charge of what I can change. Then I start to take ownership of my life. And even if there are small changes, I make those changes happen. And my life can improve. O, we need to find in ourselves. Nobody can hand us optimism, resilience, and ownership. Nobody can give us a crash course and inject it into us. We have been born with the seeds of that. But through life, many people, those seeds have never grown. They've been lying dormant or dead. How can we help nurture people, the ORO in people, so that they start to become alive again and start to hope again and start to want to live fully again? That is what ORO is about. We find that in ourselves. But sometimes ORO is not enough. In any person's life, there comes a time when the package that we have to carry, the load, is so large that we just cannot carry it alone. That should we try to carry that by ourselves, our back will break. And that is where the S comes in, that we need to find in others. We need to be able to be humble enough to say, please help. We need to believe that I don't have to be perfect to be loved or respected. We need to believe that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of inner strength to know that I am enough, even if I'm struggling. And then we help people realize that we need to know what is it that I need, because I need to know whether I need hands or whether I need a heart. And then I need to be able to ask for what I need in a way that for the people who can actually be the heart and hands that I need. This is a very important part of the program. Woolworths implemented it right at the beginning of COVID, within the first year. One of their regional managers phoned me early in the year and said, Alinda, we had armed robbery in one of our stores. 5 of our sales ladies were locked in a safe by the robbers. 50 minutes later, they were released. She said, when we let them out, we were so fearful, we thought they would be absolutely traumatized. They came out and said, don't worry about us too much. 5 of us were sitting there talking about Oros. We were talking about the power of yet in the situation. How can we use those 3 P's to bounce back? What can we take ownership right now? And how can we support each other? How can we be hands and be heart for each other? A year after I've been in the program, this Oros has not been poured into them. It's been planted in them. And they will never forget it. And it's a tool that they can use throughout their lives. The last part of the program is strong. How do we stay strong? And that's about lifestyle. Because everything we do, from the moment we get up in the morning till the evening when we go to bed at night, every choice we make either make us stronger or weaker. It either makes our body or our mind stronger or weaker. And we must not underestimate those small things we can do that either make us strong or make us weaker. So we have used STRONG, another acronym. You can see there's 3 acronyms. STRONG, we help people look at, how do I sleep well? How do I train well? How do I make exercise a habit and a discipline? I'm struggling myself a little bit with that one still, but we can't be perfect. But the train well is the important one. Relax well. When do I need to rest? Where I switch off. And when do I need to restore? When I switch on to something that takes my mind away and really engross me. What's the difference between those two? When do I need each of those? How do I organize self-care so that I change and put myself at the top of my list, of to-do list, instead of at the bottom, so that I can keep on pouring? How can I nourish well? It's not only about food and what I drink. It's also, who do I feed myself with? Some people are poison. You can go to them when you feel like the top of the world, and after 15 minutes in their conversation, you feel like the world is coming to an end. How do we intentionally choose to feed ourselves with the people that are good for us? And lastly, how do we give well? Because giving hands receive. And when we are in a space where we feel that our problems are overwhelming us, then we are looking in a mirror, we only see ourselves. But when we can change that, and when we can start to open the window and look outside, we see people who need us. And when we give them our hands or our ears or our arms or our hearts, we also have the benefit of feel-good, happy hormones released in our brains, and it makes us feel good. And that is what the program is about. So briefly, we took the entire content, we broke it up in 15 short sessions, 15 sessions of 30 minutes each. So instead of a full day, we now have 4 months of conversations. And that is what Piermont found so valuable. Instead of releasing people for 1 day to attend training, 4 months of conversations with your leader and with your team. Every day, every month, once a week, every week, once a week, sitting with your team and your leader facilitating conversations about well-being. Can you imagine the value that could have? The toolkit has 3 parts. The one, videos. The other one is the leader's guide, and the other one is the personal workbook. The videos are critically, as Malebu actually said as well. Videos are very important. We cannot expect a leader to have all the knowledge about well-being and also have the personality and the energy and the charisma to really good to present this to his or her staff. That is why we've taken our facilitators. Nonpa is one of them. Mabusa is the other one. We've taken our facilitators and they actually facilitate or present some of these sessions, and we've broken it up in 5 to 7 minutes videos. Those videos provide information and inspiration that the leader may not be able to do himself. What's also great, the leader only needs 5 or 6 minutes to prepare per week because there's no information to share. We do it for you. We've done the hard work. The leader brings in the heart work. And that is then where the Leader's Guide comes in. The Leader's Guide gives a step-by-step guideline or map for leaders to have one 30-minute conversation with his or her team for 15 weeks. And that has huge benefits. And a lot of the value that Piermont and other clients use it experience is not only that it helps individual well-being, it's what happens within the team, what happens between leaders and their people, what happens between team members when they start to have really deep, meaningful conversations. It goes far beyond individual well-being. Shirley, you mentioned right in the beginning the important role that connection plays in well-being. Here you intentionally create 15 well-being touch points for people. The video, we say, is the patty. You don't give people the patty just like that. If you want a real great takeaway, the video is important. That is where the nutrition lies. And the leader at the bun at the top and the bun at the bottom. And then we've got a hamburger through conversation to open, a conversation to close, and off the person can go. So we have presented the hamburger for every video. You can see this is what it looks like. The top bun, open, very simple, welcome your team to session 1. Share with them this. Ask them to give you a thumbs down or a thumbs up. Explain this. Easy. Then you show the video. Now you ask them, now you close. Ask them to answer the following questions. What message should you have? How can you use that? Interesting when we ask leaders to tell leaders that they will now be doing the toolkit. Most of them are very scared. And you show them the burger and they look at it and say, I can do that. I can do that. Also, we understand that some work environments have tough periods where it's difficult to dedicate half an hour a week. When Mediclinic in Newcastle bought the program to use, the license to use that, in the middle of COVID in the third wave of pandemic, they phoned me and said, Alinda, we don't have 30 minutes a week. Our people are dying here. Can't you create a diet burger for me? I said, okay, we created a diet burger. We made the buns, we cut out some of the starch, and in 10 minutes, one video and a little few minutes here and there, they were able to, through the third wave, give their people a hamburger every week and continue their well-being conversations. So very easy to use and very accessible across different industries. And then the personal workbook. The personal workbook is what is used within. I remember, Malebo, when you saw the workbook, you were very excited. You said you actually use it as a personal resource. You really liked it. And that's the idea, that people have these plug-in points, and then they have the workbook and they continue working in the workbook between the sessions. You can see the workbook is beautifully designed. We've got 2 versions, for knowledge workers and for shop floor. The knowledge worker have a lot of additional stuff, much more than we actually do in the sessions themselves, so that people use it as a self-guide. There's about 8 pages on grief that we don't touch in the course, but it's there for people. You can see here at the top left there. Those are specially hand-picked web resources. If something is relevant for a person, they can click that and in their own time study that and learn more to equip themselves. The version that we have for the shop floor worker is more simple, very, very visual as well. What is your journey like? Tick the box, for instance. You don't even have to be able to read English very well or whatever, but you are able to, all the messages of the program are there depicted in the workbook. So always the workbook is a summary of what has been done in the session and how do I apply and use that so that it has longevity and it has legs. The response to the toolkit has far exceeded what I ever could dream and hope for. For instance, I mean, maybe you heard about Piermont, but if you look at how it was used in the hospital, we daily see the benefits. People have become stronger in mind, body, and soul. Staff are more optimistic and resilient. There's a different vibe in the hospital. It's the best 15-week workout we have ever been on. Every session puts a spring in my step. The hospital manager did it with him. It was presented across the hospital at all levels, and that was at the time. A year later, when I spoke to Yapi, he said, Alinda, it's amazing. People still talk about OROS. We still have OROS days in certain of the units where they all bring OROS and they drink OROS and they talk about what have I accomplished in my life. It sticks. It's easy. It sticks. And then what was also great is that Woolworths have used it, Staying Strong, for 33,000 people across Africa. And they used the toolkit for more than 20,000 people in their 400 stores in South Africa. And they got the HR Excellence Award at the IPM conference for the contribution that they made. And this year they won the Woolworths CEO Award, which is a very prestigious award, and not often that HR wins that, for the contribution that they have made in sustaining the organization and its people during a tough time. If you look at that, what do you see? You know, some people see something, a word, other people say it's shapes, dark shapes, light shapes, black shapes, white shapes. But some people can say, I see a word. It's a 4-letter English word. Let me make it easier. Once I give you a frame, what you see changes. We cannot change people's reality. We cannot change where they come from and where they go back to in the evening after work. We cannot change the economic climate. We cannot change anything in the world. But what we do through Staying Strong is we give people a different frame through which they look at their world. That lifts their spirit, it lifts their mood, it lifts their well-being. And when it is used as a toolkit, it totally lifts the level of the quality of the relationship that a leader has with their teams. And that is what Staying Strong does. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alinda. I'm sure those who are still here with us will agree with me that I did say that if you are not swept over by her passion, I'm definitely sure you'll probably come later to say, tell me more, I need more insights from you. So thank you, Alinda, for pouring your heart out and really just sharing with us this amazing resource that I've also seen in action. Just the ease with which people get to run with it. It's like literally putting the work tools in the hands of capable men and women who are ready to run with the message of putting hope, injecting hope in the hearts of others. It's absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for that. I want to also thank our speakers today. Shirley Zinn, thank you so much for your warm and humble spirit, just sharing from your heart and even based on your knowledge and research on this topic as a head in many aspects. Thank you very much for that. Malebo, your energy is infectious. It definitely bounces from where you are to where we are. And so thank you so much for that. We have a few minutes left before we can say an official goodbye. And we just want to open up another opportunity for questions, comments, if there are still any, or maybe answer also some of the questions that are already on the chat. There were some that were directed, especially to Malebo as well before, but are there also any questions that you have, maybe regarding the toolkit that Alinda has just shared about, any areas of that lack clarity for you as you have heard her presentation, or where you think, how do we go about implementing this in our various organizations? The floor is open for those conversations. We have a few minutes before we can call it a day at 3:30. If there are any comments, they are welcome. And if you want to put anything on the chat too, please do so. It will be entertained while we're here. And if there are any other questions that you have that you feel maybe are more personal for your particular environment, we will share contact details at the end of this session so that you can be able to get in touch and get more insights and specific things that have to do with your situation. Okay, so I see thank yous. Thank you for the session, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much for this educational and informative session. There's a comment here, or is it a question? Yes, so let's get to it. They're coming in very fast. Let's quickly see. There is a question here that's just popped up around the staying strong. It says, with regards to strong, the first three are so difficult to achieve. How do you suggest one try to adapt? Alinda, over to you on that question.
I suppose I was looking with regard to strong. It's the sleep well, the exercise well, and the
relax well.
In everything, in the whole thing, when you talk about lifestyle, I believe it's little steps at a time in the right direction. Little steps that's manageable. I mean, just for instance, going to bed every night at the same time. I mean, it's a little step that I took when I designed the program. I realized that I've always known that I'm light sensitive, but I always just say it's light tonight and I can't sleep well because the moon is bright. And then I realized I take ownership, and I bought myself a 39 Rand eye mask, and it made a huge difference to the quality of my sleep. I think once one realizes that it's up to me to make things happen, nobody owes us, and then think, what is the one thing I can do today that will help me stay strong today? It may be get up from your desk and walk through the garden. It may be not eating at your desk, and it may be eating a nice slice of cheesecake when you really feel you need a treat. I don't know what it is, but it's about intentionally making the little changes that are in your control. And little changes add up to start to shift our sense of well-being over time. It's not an overnight thing.
Thank you, Alinda, and I hope that answers that question. And should there be more insight needed, we'll definitely share the contact details here at the end. Blessing, whom I hope is still here, asked a question. In fact, it was more like a comment, but also I think wanting to know more. Our company has been through so much change in the last 1 year. We've had to reduce our workforce in the last 1 year, and promotions or salary increases are a bit tough to do as we try to stabilize the business. Right now, delivery is critical for us. What are some strategies, such as a company, I guess, in their situation, can adopt to retain and motivate employees at the point we find ourselves, and given all the company has been through? I think Blessing is still here. I can see Blessing is still here. So Alinda, if maybe you could answer that question.
Can I direct that to Shirley?
Blessing is just asked. He's still here.
Could I direct that one to Shirley, please?
Thank you very
Shirley.
much. Yes, thank you so much. It's so profound. Just before I answer the question, Malebo, what you've been sharing and the realities of what is possible in a seemingly impossible environment, and that there are things that we can actually do to make a difference. And as Alinda points out, that it's the little steps that are manageable that takes us in the right direction, and we need to be intentional about this. And so I do believe that organizations, and because I serve on multiple boards in listed companies, in private companies, in NPOs and academic, um, the lens is quite clearly showing that organizations are under enormous pressure right now. There are so many challenges. There are CEO changes, there are structural changes, there are retrenchments. There is, the macroeconomics, the geopolitical environment is causing enormous anxiety and fear and stress in organizations in terms of, are we going to achieve our targets? Are we going to achieve our growth challenges? How are we going to contain our costs? And it can begin to look like a big blur out there. And so we need to slow ourselves down enough to be able to understand, and I think these frameworks that Alinda has taken us through is so powerful, because it helps us to create some order from the chaos, and to give ourselves some tools to reflect through and navigate, as the question is asking, the complexities, the ambiguities, the uncertainty, the vulnerability that we are facing in our organizations, and that we're also facing on the personal front. And we must remember that these things are all interconnected. They're not, we're in a broad ecosystem. And yes, somebody earlier talked about, the load shedding and the water shedding and the looting and all of the raft of challenges that people have to navigate from the time they wake up. And if they're lucky enough to get a good night's sleep, then, they've got to get up again and face yet another day. And I think our sense of purpose, our sense of how, what makes us actually get up, and how do we connect with ourselves and with other human beings, and how do we ensure that we have this layer of leadership that cares more for the greater good for its people, and demonstrates this purpose around people first mindset and a humanistic approach to their organizations. So I think that there are so many beautiful nuggets of learning that we can take away from us, while we reflect on the session here this afternoon, and that it enables us to have honest and fair and authentic conversations. It enables us to be inspirational. It enables us to focus on flattening that mental health curve that a lot of us are suffering. And I know that we all have a story. We all have something that we are carrying with us, that we wish we could find a way to just overcome some of those barriers. And so today, I just want to leave you with a sense of encouragement, with a sense of hope, with a sense of a place that you can come to, and connect with if you need any kind of this assistance. And that, we're here to support each other, and these ongoing engagements that we're having will strengthen us and move us forward. So today, I'm just really so excited, Malebo, to hear the Piermont story, and to see the Woolies story, since I was at Woolies too. I know all the people on the picture there, and I understand, the depth of the anxiety that we are all challenged with. And so it's so important to equip ourselves. And I just want to say, after a session like this, that, if we can walk away with a sense of hope, with a sense of inspiration, with a sense of, well, at least I know what Free to Grow can offer, a sense of, as if we are leaders, we must lead from where we are and support our people, and a sense of joy and peace and harmony that is possible in our lives if we can just use some of these tools that are in the toolkit. And I'm grateful today to be a patron for Free to Grow, because I love this work, and I believe that I strongly believe that this is what our leadership needs to be focusing on if we are truly going to create sustainable organizations into the future and a better future for our children and their children. So huge thank you for the opportunity to all of you who have contributed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shirley, for those words that you have just shared, giving those valuable insights indeed. And it looks like our time has run out as we scheduled. And I know there were still lots of questions that were needing some answers, but hopefully you will stay in touch with us so that you can also get some of these questions entertained and really given the answers that you need. I want to say thank you for coming through, ladies and gents, to this webinar. And we are just so excited that you could be here and learn with us and grow with us in this area that is so contested nowadays. I have our contact details here. If you want to take this conversation further, and to look at how Free to Grow can partner with your organization in bringing things to life in your organization and for your people as well, please take note. You can reach out to Alinda at ftgsa.co.za, or you can also reach out to me, Nontabiso Mthembu, on nontabiso@ftgsa.co.za. Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks once again. We hopefully will see you soon when we have another webinar and we can talk more and more about insights on people and how best we can shine the light in the hearts of our men and women who are making the difference in our organizations. Thank you and thank you and thank you again.